This is the I Read Comic Books podcast, the very best podcast for regular comic book fans. I'm your host, Mike Rappin, and joining me this week, two recently subscribed Time.is Pro subscribers. This week, I'm joined by Nick White.
If you buy it for the full year at once, it's worth it.
And with me this week as well, Brian Murray.
It's already clap on the 69-second mark.
Hey, cool. What a great way to start the last episode I'll be on for a long while with my two pals, Brian and Nick. For those of you that didn't listen to episode 500 or this is your first ever episode, I'm sorry, but this is going to be my last episode for like 2.5 months. My wife Kelly and I are having a baby. I'm very excited about it. I can't keep it in my as a secret anymore because it's probably happening within the next 7 to 10 days. What am I doing recording a podcast today? I don't know. But we are here to talk about comic books. So I have two legally mandated questions, and that is, how have you been? How have comic books been? Let's start with you, Nick.
I've been okay. I've been busy. Busy is a code word for watching TV. And it's a wonderful time of year. It's that time that happens roughly, I guess, if you think about it, I suppose it would only be every 4 years. The Winter Olympics and the Super Bowl lineup. So it's a large amount of sports that I pretend to understand for about a week or two. And then a much bigger sport that I somewhat more convincingly pretend to understand. Super Bowl and Olympics. But beyond that, there's another thing I pretend to understand, and that's comic books. And I'm sure there's more than a couple people, more than a couple listeners who would point out how much of a fake fan I am. And go ahead,
White,
guys.
Fake geek girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Send us an email at ircbpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, guys, send me a Gmail. Tell me how much of a pick-me girl I am. And I'm not like the other comic book readers, guys. Okay?
He's worse.
And I read Watchmen, and then I read it from back to front. So I'm quirky. I'm different. Anyway, at this point, you can all go watch 500 Days of Summer, I guess, and just get your own, manic pixie girl experience. I did do some reading this week. You're going to get graced with a lot of wonderful credits here because I read Cruel Universe 2, 1 through 3. This is the second volume of Cruel Universe from EC Comics, which was revived by Oni about a year or two ago. So this includes work from writers on the modern side: Jay Holtham, Ann Nocenti, Greg Pak, Dave Vilgos, Melissa Flores, Chris Condon, Ryan Hughes, Cecil Castellucci, Sarah Galley. Classic writers are William M. Gaines and Al Feldstein. In terms of modern artists, David Rubin, Kano, Charlie Adlard, Riley Rossmo, Claire Rowe, Sammy Cavella, and Anna Redman. On the classic art side, we've got Bernard Kriegstein. And for colorists, modern, Inaki Irapazu, Jordi Belair, Nick Filardi, Heather Breckel. And finally, lettering all of this is Richard Starkings.
God damn.
Big names. Big names.
Just the artists alone, I'm like, I need to look at this book. I have to see what is inside this book. Holy crap.
Yeah. Charlie Adlard, I believe of Walking Dead fame, right?
Yes.
Now, I always get these guys confused. Adlard, guys, everyone listening, I really know, I know it's a Kirkman thing. I know the guy from Death Stranding, shoots a crossbow. That's about it, okay? Adlard was the first one, right, who got in the lawsuit, right?
No, that would be Tony Moore.
Jesus Christ. Okay, never mind. Okay,
we just did this like 6 episodes ago,
right?
Nick.
And I think that's because Moore actually wrote for the. I don't think it was the Outlaw EC Comics. It was the maybe it was the Outlaws one. I'm pretty sure Moore did art on one of these as well. Anyway. So I was kind of inspired to go back and read more of this after our discussion regarding EC Comics that came up as part of our bigger discussion of Dr. Worthless a couple weeks ago. So what's really nice, at least for me, with how EC Comics has approached this reboot, is that with usually, at least with every installment, they package in a classic EC Comics story. So you're
Mhm.
not getting one with every issue. Maybe you're getting one with every other. And so it's just a nice way to sort of appreciate some of the greatest hits, I guess. I'm sure some people will say it's padding. I remember back when Marvel used to do this with their trades, where you'd get like the 4 issues that actually told the story, and then they'd throw in like a 1963 Spider-Man issue at the end, and they'd be like, this
Yeah.
is for you. And it's like, this is a Daredevil trade. Why is this even here? And they'd be like, it's for you. You're welcome. This is why we get to charge $25. So I actually appreciate it here. I'm sure, like I said, some people probably think it's padding or whatever. I think it's great. If you're one of those people that, quote, doesn't want to look at old stuff, yeah, you're going to have a problem, but too bad.
Here's the thing, Nick.
Yeah.
Are people who are picking up Cruel Universe 2
Right.
the type of people that are going to be mad about seeing old comics from the classic William N. Gaines and Al Feldstein? Like, I don't think so, right?
I agree with you. Like, in terms of the Venn diagram, those two circles are not going to overlap very much in
Right,
terms of
exactly.
like, this is the person that is going to be, be like, I don't want
And
anything to do with it. Yeah.
To that point, having read a couple of these EC comic things, I think to tell the difference between quote old and new it's a little tough, right? There's only so, I mean, yes, it's probably a little bit wordier, but even then, I don't know if that distinguishment for someone who's not into comics is like hardcore enough to know the difference between a new and an old creator. I don't think they're going to be able to tell the difference. I guess that's all that I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally the stories like start to veer a little into some racial caricatures, and at that point you're like, gosh, I hope this is one of the old ones, but
I don't think that they're republishing those.
I think you ought to read the one at the end of the Outlaws one, and you can tell me what you think.
Okay. It didn't come with a WB style disclaimer of like, we are presenting this in its original form despite
right.
blah 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 blah.
Right. Yeah. Donald Duck is wearing the Nazi uniform in this 1930 whatever cartoon, but we swear he's the bad guy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cruel Universe also has the privilege of being the first and only so far title to actually get a follow-up series, although I guess you could argue that Epitaphs from the Abyss technically went for 3 trades, and so maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No one cares. So I went ahead and I extracted a couple of the stories that I thought were of particular note or I found interesting, and I'll just kind of go through the hits so you can get a feel for these, and if people are interested in these, you can go and check this book out, because it's just the solidest of first volume. Right out of the gate in issue 1, there's a story called In a Strange Land. This is by Jay Holtum. I never was that familiar with Holtum. He's done a bunch of work for this EC reboot. He also did something called Bishop War College for Marvel. I don't know if that's good or not. Someone can just weigh in on that. That's fine.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a weird X-Men book that, and yeah, for those of you watching the video, you can see me hastily Googling.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know, is a 2023 Marvel book that probably came out of Death of X. So like, I don't know. Yeah, just keep moving on. That's fine.
Yeah. And you got David Rubin on art, who of course worked with Matt Kint on Ether and Matt Kint on Space Scouts and did Rumble, but I think with John Arcudi, I'm pretty sure. So I love the story because it manages to do more here with 6 pages than I feel like the other 2 stories in this issue do with 10. Just saying something. It's a little bit of your classic trope here. We've seen it before. You've got aliens fleeing their dying homeworld, and after doing their research, they decide that Earth is pretty much the best place to resettle. It's a real tried and true, as well as the inverse. We fucked up Earth, now we got to go find another place. We've seen both ends of this, and boy, these aliens are basically coming with gifts in tow for their neighbors, right? They've got cures for diseases. They've got clean energy solutions. They claim they're going to fix the housing crisis. Good luck, guys. Right? They're like, look, we're coming to Earth. We've got all this nice stuff. We can't wait to meet our new neighbors. But they're like these big floating jellyfish sort of aliens. And they're like, look, if we show up like this, the humans are going to freak out. We got to meet them halfway. So they use this tech to alter their appearance and, quote, selected a face we felt would be average, like most of them. And then they drop this person in a metropolitan American city, what looks like an American city. There aren't that many overt clues. The police look like American police, and the bank the sign above the bank is in English, so I just extrapolated that. And things kind of go south. They selected a visage that represents the average appearance of a human on Earth, and as you might imagine, some people were not real receptive to that. It's a twist, folks. It's a twist. It's just as depressing and relevant as it would have been decades ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the story EC put out about an astronaut, maybe in like the 50s or 60s. It's maybe the story they're most famous for. If you aren't familiar with that one, I'm not going to talk about that, because if you know the twist from that, you actually kind of know the twist from this.
Also, if you listen to our Dr. Wortham episode, you would already know. But
also
yes.
covers that. Yeah. So have you been fucking paying attention? Do you listen to every episode of our show?
There will be.
What are you even doing?
Nick, how many more stories are we talking about here?
I got 7 lined up, guys. No, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm just kidding. I got like 2 more, guys. Calm down.
All right,
guys, if you're just listening, they've both left. Another one is called For Art's Sake. This is by Chris Condon. Art by Sammy Cavella, colors by Nick Filardi. It's not the most subtle story, but that's probably attributable to the fact that Condon's story tends to be tackling the ever-looming and unavoidable discussion of the dangers of AI, not only as it applies to the human creative process, but also to the survival of humanity itself. You've got this guy, he's this painter, he's the last human on Earth, he's dying, and this robot has hooked up to his brain and is trying to extract how to learn how to paint before this guy dies. It basically turns into a discussion about why we create art, how we create art, and maybe why this would prove eternally elusive for artificial intelligence. And it also kind of has a flashback sequence providing a hasty but terrifying roadmap of like how we got here. And it begins with this guy and he's in a cafe and his friend is showing him on his phone a video where, quote, the video says, "Oh, this is how AI created artwork makes what used to be a grueling, laborious process simple." And his friend says, "Pretty cool, no?" Yeah.
That's one thing I know about artists is that they hate making art.
Yeah. Hey, I got this thing on my phone. How would you feel about being unemployed? I'm doing your work for you right now. So again, it's not subtle, but he's got 6 or 7 pages to work with, and it's obviously on the minds of most people these days. Certainly on the minds of most comic book creators, I would assume. Worth It is really great. Again, not subtle, also because these stories, escapism, they are not, folks. This is by Sarah Gailey, who wrote Eat the Rich, Know Your Station, White Widow. Art by Kano, who did Quantum and Woody. Quantum and Woody, the one with the exclamation point at the end, not to be confused with Quantum and Woody, the one that does not have an exclamation point at the end. Those are very different series. True Valiant fans know. And The Delinquents, which was the Archer and Armstrong Quantum and Woody team up. Yes.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you listed these Valiant books for Kano. Kano is very well known for their work on Action Comics, as well as the Immortal Iron Fist.
Yeah, and also Quantum and Woody with an exclamation point, and The Delinquents.
Yes, I know.
Which is what I know and love these people for, not this other stuff.
That's all.
Yeah, that is all. So this book follows this guy named Quincell Price, which is clearly an allegory for Elon Musk. Okay, right? Like, not that you need convincing. The dude builds cars. He shuts down unions and government organizations in equal measure, and he owns an app that's just as popular as it is heinously evil. And he won't rest until his dumb phallic rocket ship is standing on the surface of the moon, which is clearly a little half Bezos, half Musk, but like, we get where it's going.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's got this app called Worth It, no space in between, Worth It. And it's an app that, as the narrator, this guy, this CEO pronounces, he says it can transform rights into privileges. Yikes. So if you want access to a seatbelt in his self-driving taxi, that's $9.99. If you work for a company that like he owns and you need a helmet or an apron or other safety equipment for your welding job, that's not included, and you can guess what app you'll be booting up in order to get your hands on that stuff. So yeah. And however, sometimes things get interesting when titans of industry are forced to use the tech that they've foisted upon the masses. And things get interesting here too. It's great. It's great. Kano's artwork is amazing. I'd forgotten how solid he is. He loves using purples and pinks in every single panel, regardless of whether or not they need them, which is wonderful. It's fantastic. This guy was tearing it up at Valiant over back in the day. Again, not subtle, but it's good. I really liked it.
I mean, this is the thing about these anthologies, though, is they get to tell little stories that probably wouldn't be good enough, or not good enough, but wouldn't fill up a 3-issue mini or fill up.
Yeah, there's not enough to pad out. Yep.
I like that. And I mean, if you think about some of the classic EC books as well, that's what they were doing too. They were commenting on the current whatever was in the zeitgeist, So I think this is great. This sounds exactly what these anthologies are for, and that's amazing.
And that just briefly brings me into the last one, which is the classic story, which I really, really liked, called Derelict Ship. This is written by William M. Gaines, as in the Bill Gaines of EC Comics, the president, the publisher rather, with Bernard Krigstein on art. And this follows this starship captain who's investigating this derelict ship, and it's a frame narrative, because while trying to figure out what happened to the ship, he finds the ship, he looks into the ship's logs, and then the story shifts to the story of this derelict ship itself and what happened to the crew. And to make a short story shorter, sometimes you're in space just doing your own thing, and an asteroid smacks into your ship, and it forces you to make an emergency landing on a secretive prison planet where, quote, all the anti-democratists and the hate mongers and the totalitarianists have been sent. And and sometimes it's those people don't want to be on that planet anymore. Surprise.
Interesting. I can relate.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a little, maybe a little heavy-handed, but like, guys, this is only 8 years after the end of World War II. This was written in 1953. The perils and dangers for which World War II were fought were still very much ever present, and we should probably do well to remember some of those things today. So yeah, it holds up. It's relevant, unfortunately, probably too relevant, but it's wonderful. It looks good. It's a great story. This artist I looked up, Bernard Krigstein, also was very famous at EC Comics for doing a story around the same time that talked about the events of the Holocaust, which was like very much not something anybody was talking about in the 50s. So very notable for that. But a great read overall. If you're looking for a solid anthology, you can't do much better than Cruel Universe.
Nice. I mean, I'm waiting for my trade of the first set of collections to come in. Maybe I should just go out and get these issues, because man, oh man, I know this is the sequel, so like I just want to read all this stuff, because I feel like everything I've heard about these Cruel Universe books specifically have been nothing but positive stuff. I know we've been talking about it for a while. I think I just need to sit down and read them. So good to hear that the second rendition of Cruel Universe is doing well.
Yeah, it's pretty much all these books are really great. I haven't checked out all of them. I know they just rolled out, or I'm sorry, I think they're about to roll out next week a kind of
romance,
like
right?
It's romance, but it's also like horror themed romance one shot. So should be interesting. Very excited. What about you guys?
There's plenty of stuff, but to go into that. But Brian, what is on the top of your pile? Jeepers. Trying to just rush through the show. How have you been? How have comic books been? Sorry.
I've been good. Comics have been treating me well. Main book I'm going to talk about this week. I read the first 3 volumes of Heavenly Delusion by Masakazu Ishiguro. Couple of trigger warnings before I get in. I'm not going to talk about these things much, but if you're going to read the book, this is your warning. There are a lot of very bad deaths, like people get eaten by monsters on page, and they do not spare that.
Okay.
And I also just want to throw in a sexual assault trigger warning. Personally, I don't think that it's anything like graphic or traumatizing, but I'll explain it when I get to it why I'm giving that warning now.
Sure.
This is a post-apocalyptic adventure story following two characters, Maru and Kiriko, as they explore Japan looking for a place called Heaven. Along the way, they encounter gangs, bears, and the terrifying mutant monsters I mentioned earlier, called appropriately man-eaters.
Okay.
These are creatures that can be hurt, but importantly not killed by conventional means. So like you can shoot them with a gun and parts of them will fly off, but they will eventually get back up. Maru, though, for some reason, he can lay a hand on these creatures and sort of like reach into them and destroy the very core of their being. The source of this ability has not been made clear yet by the end of Volume 3. And Kiriko has a ray gun that she can use to kill them. Finding out like there's all mystery about this symbol that's on the butt of the gun, and they're trying to find out like, where did this come from? Why does it do what it does? Seems like it might be related to this Heaven place that Mara was looking for. The story also switches back and forth between this adventure on what I refer to as the surface in my head and some kind of like walled in underground-ish area. I don't really know like what it's like outside this place, because none of the characters inside of it know what it's like outside this place either. They just know that they're a bunch of teens in like a walled school, basically. And so they're it's kind of like this fucked up private school situation where the adults in charge, who appear to be running like some kind of scientific experiment down here.
Fucked up private school situation. So every manga.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a school. It's super intense. We're really worried about our algebra scores, but also we're all going to kill each other.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. 1 minute we see like one of their tests they're working on, which is like algebra that I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
So either it's advanced to a degree, but then we watch them talk and realize like they don't know what romance is, or like about kissing or anything like that.
I'm sorry. I just imagine Brian's like reading this and he like looks at the test and it's like basic addition. He's like, what the fuck is this?
Look, they're trying to multiply two numbers and they both have 2 digits. I'm like, whatever. These kids in this underground maybe area, this is where the sexual assault trigger warning kind of comes in, because these are teenagers and they have no idea what sex is or anything like that. But they're teenagers, and teenagers are going to do what teenagers are going to do, whether they've been educated about it or not. And so some of these kids are having sex with each other, and it's like, on the one hand, like nobody is forcing themselves on anybody. Both participants appear to be fully on board, but if you don't understand what sex is, how can consent really exist? And so, like, I'm just, for an abundance of caution, I just want to make sure people are aware of that going in.
Sounds a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. It definitely was not great to read, but it also, like, it was not handled, like, it was handled well. Like, this was not presented as like a titillating scene between these characters. It's like a very like earnest, in a way, depiction of like two kids who don't know what they're doing, but they know that they like it, basically. This is a pretty heavy read, because we also have this sort of like gender issue going on, to the point where I don't even know what pronouns to use for the character Kiriko.
Okay.
Because Kiriko is, or at least was, a woman, but at the end of the first volume, getting into volume 2, we discover that she has the brain of a man. Which at first I was like, oh, cool, trans rep, love it. But then we find out that it's actually her brother's brain that might have been transplanted into her skull.
How's her brother doing?
What?
Well, see, her brother was killed by one of the monsters I mentioned before.
Right.
And she came across him in the process of being consumed. And like quote unquote rescued him. But I mean, he was like a torso ahead and like part of an arm was left at this point. And she was very badly hurt. And when she woke up believing that she was this brother character. I want to say his name is Haruki. But I don't know if this is like a weird sci-fi brain transplant situation, or if the trauma of watching her little brother get killed led to some kind of like mental break, and she's created a world in which he survived. Like the only way that she could like construct a world where he was still alive would be if he lived in her head.
You're just a voice inside my head.
Yeah,
sorry.
But like I honestly like the psychological answer would be like much more interesting for me as a reader than to find out that no, this is just sci-fi magic medicine where they were able to put a brain in a new body.
I was gonna say, is this supposed to be an advanced society or our like what is the technological?
It's very much like modern day, and then an apocalypse happened.
Modern day, like, probably not yet ready for brain transfer tech. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So
how did you land on this book, Brian?
Yeah, I was going to ask the exact same question, because the link that was in the doc is from a publishing site that I've never heard of, but I love the idea of it because they're like, buy this and then you have the DRM free copy of it. But anyways, yeah, how did you come across this, Brian?
I watched the anime.
Okay.
The anime, I think it definitely goes farther than I've read, because I haven't gotten to the end of the anime yet.
Okay.
Which if you do read this and you do go forward, there is a much more graphic sexual assault that takes place.
Okay.
So, and again, it's handled well. It's not like supposed to be like typical anime, like portrayed as a hot scene, but it's actually a rape. It is like taken seriously and depicted as a horrifying crime. So that at least is good. But yeah, I watched it and I was just fascinated by this idea of like this brain in this other body, or this person coping with trauma by creating their brother in their head. But I might find out that it is just a sci-fi brain transplant, and that would be kind of a letdown for me personally.
Sure. So this doesn't get answered in the anime nor in the volumes, I guess.
Correct.
That's interesting. Okay.
I think because I'm 3 volumes deep, and I want to say there's like at least 12 volumes out there.
Nice.
Is the is the anime still ongoing? And if anyone wanted to check that out, where would they?
As far as I know, it's just one series. I believe it's on Hulu or Disney Plus.
Gotcha.
It's under a different name because they used the Japanese title for some reason. Because Disney Hulu hates it when they actually advertise their anime.
Right.
So I think it's called Tengoku Daimakyo.
Okay.
On there. If you just Google Heavenly Delusion anime, I'm sure that you'll be able to find it without too much difficulty.
Okay.
Well, the art style in this looks really interesting. It doesn't look like your classic Shonen Jump. I think that's really cool.
I look
anime pick me, girl. Sorry.
There is something to be said about like series that I think add a little bit more roundness and add a little bit more like, I don't know, there's like weird spikiness to this, or almost like less fine stylization to this, you know?
I see it now.
I think that's really cool. I think you see this a lot more in like books basically not published by Viz, which obviously this is not. So yeah,
Nice.
I like the look of this. I might have to try this out, especially because I like their buy this once on their website and you own it forever with the DRM free stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I wish I had found that website when I was trying to buy this shit.
Oh, no.
I have a whole backstory with this. I tried to buy the physical volumes last summer from Barnes and Noble, and then they just never shipped. Like I never got charged for them or anything. It just that order just disappeared into the void. So then eventually I was like, all right, I guess I'll go to Amazon and buy the digital versions. But they didn't have volume 2 for sale on Amazon, the digital. So
of course.
I went to the Barnes and Noble, like the Nook store, and just to buy volume 2, created a whole ass account just for one volume.
Whoa.
Brian,
Mistakes
ouch.
were made.
Yeah.
Listen, we are all saddened by the final laying off of all the Comixology people, but this is proof that they were like the whole comics side of Amazon has been in a fuck position, because why would you not have the second volume of this? Like, and this is not on the people that were working there. This is on like the business interactions between these publishing companies.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, like I can't fathom a reason why volume 1 is available and volume 3 is available. So like you must have the license for the series. Did that not include volume 2?
Probably what happened is it's on Amazon. It's probably listed under a different name and part of a different series. So like it's not linked together. So it's probably out there, but you just would have to dig deep for it. And why should you have to dig deep for something that has the same title and should be in the same series, right? Like it's metadata bullshit that just, it's very frustrating.
So if you can find it, it's a great read.
Right. If you can buy it from the denpa.pub website, which looks legit as far as I can tell. It does look like an actual publisher site. It looks like that might be the easiest way to get it, because I think you can get PDFs of it.
The pulse of Japan's comic scene.
Dear Diary, in 2026, someone said Nook today. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, anyways, let me talk about how I've been what I've been reading. I have been, as I said, prepping for a baby to be here any day. But I did sit down and read some comics. I'll say this, and we'll talk about this in the post show if you're interested, Brian. I did start reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, so I'm in it.
I feel like this is the book Mike is always bringing it up, and he's like, "I heard about this book, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I hear it's really." I feel like for you, it's like the new Ready Player One. Like there's a bunch of other people talking about it, and you're just kind of side eyeing it nervously.
And I said, you know what? It's time. I think I'm going to do this. Here's the thing. Brian's into it. That's already a good sign. My other friend Ben is into it. That's the strangest connection of two people outside of Jurassic Park that I would ever guess.
Okay.
And then like just random, everyone's talking about this. And like a guy that I went to a Pokemon Go event with last year was like, oh, I've been really into these books. They've been pretty good. I'm like, all right. I feel like this is the universe pushing me into this. I'll talk about this in the show post credits, because I have so many things to say. I'm only like a third of the way into the book. But anyways, I did sit down and read some comics. I've been like really pushing myself to like catch up on some backlog. I read 2 volumes of Way of the House Husband because I have 2 volumes behind on that somehow. Spoilers.
Same.
It's still fucking awesome. It still rocks. So everybody should be reading that series. But I read this book, Blood of the Virgin, I talked about last week. I have a lot to say, but I don't want to talk about it here. So maybe again, post credits. But I did sit down and read a book that our good pal Danny talked to the creator for a while back, Teeny Howard. I read Marian Heretic numbers 1 through 3. This is by Teeny Howard with Joe Jarrow on art, colors by Walter Belamonte, and letters by Jim Campbell. Honestly, I was just trying to find something newish to read because I was reading through so much backlog. And I saw Howard's name. I know that Danny had talked to Teeny Howard about this. I was like, let's give this book a try. It turns out that this is a pretty fun little comic. It plays around with Western Christianity in a way that tickled me. The story of this book is, and I watched Danny's interview with Teeny, and the book sounded fun from there as well. But the story is about this witch hunter in Vesper City called her name is Marian. She is considered a heretic because she worships the mother of the sun, right? Jesus' mom. She's a worshiper of Mary. But the church is like, hey, you can't be a nun and also worship this woman who's not a man. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are the things you should be worshiping. So they deem her this heretic who goes out and hunts witches down, right? They lean on this idea, never allow a witch to live, whatever the phrase is.
Never suffer a witch to live.
Thank you, that one. I knew one of you two would know this. So she goes out, she hunts witches, and that's kind of what the first issue is about. She has this cool staff that is powered by the Eucharist. Again, like just playing around with all these Catholic things that are really fun. And so at the end of her hunts, she has to eat the Eucharist.
Really fun, right? Okay.
It's fun.
I'm just picturing the staff as like a Pez dispenser.
Brian, you're not far off. They open up a little thing and they put the Eucharist in, and at the end of the night she takes it out and then they feed it to her. But the church is run by 3 bishops who are representing the Catholic Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I guess that's not a Catholic Trinity, but you know what I mean. It's very Catholic coded. We get these perfectly apt representations of these 3 men in the form of a stern and angry man, a young empathetic man, and an old shithead. It's very much like Teenie Howard has a lot to say about like the Catholic Church and like how the church is depicted and how they treat their people. There's a point in the story where like you realize that the place that Marian goes to every day to like check in with these bishops that are running the thing, or cardinals, whatever they are, is like this huge castle, very much like the Vatican. And every day the younger, son representation bishop guy goes out to like pray for the sick and the people who are like begging outside of this castle. And it's this huge thing. Thousands of sick are outside praying for hope. And it's like, oh, these guys are dressed in very elaborate garb with gold and silver and all this stuff. And, they have so much and these people have so little. And these guys are like, we're just going to go pray for them. It's like, okay, like she's got some stuff to say. I appreciate that. But also, this book is just like really fun, right? Teenie Howard gets the action going with Joe Jarrow's art. It's fantastic. Like, I think she does an incredible job balancing the action and Marian's struggles with her personal view of religion and her purpose in the world. Like, she meets more people as the story goes on that kind of opened her eyes to the idea of she worships the mother, and she's got this own little convent that she is the mother superior of. They all also worship the mother, but under the, on the side of the Catholic, we worship, our Holy Father God. And there's this balance of like, so she's a witch hunter, but witches also kind of worship the same way that she and her little convent worship. And there's this question of like, are they witches? Are they not? And she meets more people that kind of explain to her that maybe it's these men that are running things that are wrong. But it's not. Hear me out. I feel like it's not very heavy-handed, Nick. Okay, I know that this sounds awful. A woman having power, a woman doing things for herself and not listening to men. I know that's tough for you, but no, I think Howard does a great job of like telling a really interesting story in a very like smart way, while also balancing a lot of really interesting action and playing with that overlap of like how religion, like Western religion, is supposed to be so different than pagan religions that worship gods and other deities, and witches, and how witches worship, and then say, no, we're not too far off. It's just the difference is that they've built up these huge walls and we are more like one with the world. But it's very much like these men are fucking stupid and they've been ruining things for everybody, which it's not heavy-handed, but that is the thing you take away from these first 3 issues. I was a little worried about like how Marian was depicted. If you look up the cover of this book, you'll see there's like a very busty, curvaceous woman on the cover, like chopping heads and stuff. And you're kind of like, hold on, what kind of cheesecake is this? And I appreciate that the way that this book depicts Marian is, yes, she is a strong and beautiful and curvaceous and busty woman, but it's not like for that gaze, right? Like you can be strong and beautiful and powerful and not have it be for a cheesecakey reason.
The book isn't leering at her the whole time.
Exactly. And I think like part of the pitch that Howard gets is like gives off is like, no, Marian's hot and she also is very smart and capable and all these other things. So I think that's really cool. I like the way that that's done. But yeah, this definitely, from just the cover of issue 1, looks like a book I normally would have breezed over, but I'm glad that I took a chance, if only because I think the way that Howard balances this like questioning of religion while also telling a very interesting kind of transformative story about this character Marian is really cool. In particular, issue number 3 had me go, oh, hell yeah, now this is where we're really taking off, and it's pacing really, really well in the first 3 issues. So I think 4 is out. I need to read that. I don't know how long this is going to be, but whatever. I'm on board. I'm totally into this. Marian Heretic 1 through 3. Everyone should go try it at least. Unless you're really rooted in your religion, maybe don't.
Oof.
So yeah, I know, Nick, this is probably not a book for you, but
Okay.
Anyways. Anyways, I'm just kidding.
I'll pray for you, you bitch.
Thank you. To wrap the show up here, let's talk about books that are on the top of our pile, comics that are new or old, or just something that we want to get off of our shelves. I want to shout out a couple of folks hanging out with us live on our Discord today. That would be Danny, who's reading Sirens Love Hurts #1. This is a Black Label book from DC. Looks cool. It's like Babs Tarr and another name whose name I forget. But Babs Tarr doing comics, I love to see. She draws very pretty people. Oh, and Teenie Howard, that's what it is. Sorry. Teenie Howard and Babs Tarr, that's great. And Kate's going to be reading This Beautiful Ridiculous City by Sonhee K. This is Kate Scotch's pick from the reading challenge. I'm glad that other folks
Kate's book. Thank you for making things simple this week, guys. Thank you.
Yes. Kate Lamphere is reading Kate Scotchless's book. I'm glad that other people are keeping up with the reading challenge. I did pick Way of the House Husband Volume 12 as my pick for February's theme of the month, which is feel good comics, because that book makes me feel good. But let's kick things over to Brian. What is on the top of your pile this week?
Yeah, well, after a heavy psychological, philosophical read, I wanted something a little bit lighter. So I chose the 400-pound Batman. That's Absolute Batman Volume 2 is now available on Hoopla. I don't know if it just came out or if it just got there, but check that out.
That's crazy. Literally, I just bought the hardcover because it came out, I think, last week or something, maybe a week or two ago. So, that's a really cool turnaround for Hoopla.
Yeah, and I dug the first Absolute Batman volume, so I'm looking forward to this one. I've heard that it gets weird in this one. This is where shit really goes off the rails. Kind of backed up by the interior cover image, which is just a 25-foot tall Bane holding Batman by the chest and head, like an action figure. And I am of two minds of this, because on the one hand, it's comics. It's not like it's ever been realistic. There is no super steroid that will let you gain 150 pounds. No super steroid that'll let you gain 150 pounds of muscle mass in an instant. But this one tripled him in size, because this Bruce is 6'8", 6'9", something like that.
He's huge. Yeah, he's humongous.
And this Bane is at least 3 of him tall. So I'm he's got to be 20 plus feet. And
there's only one direction we can go, guys.
Yeah, and any direction
that's taller.
It's literally just inflation. It's the Batman got bigger,
out of frame, man. You just see him from the neck down.
It's unless the explanation and now is that Bane is magic, I'm gonna have a real hard time swallowing it.
Listen, I think the cover is supposed to be a weird perspective shift, right? I think Batman is a little hunched over. Bane is standing atop something, right? Because his waist is almost at Batman's head. His legs are not 9 feet tall. I think it's perspective, Brian. That's all.
I don't think so.
I mean, here's the thing. I've read the issues in this book. It's true. Bane is huge. This is Nick Dragotta basically saying, how far can I stretch the proportions before people say, Nick, you got to slow it down. It's awesome. It looks fantastic. Yeah, Brian, you're right. There is a giant Bane holding Batman. Yeah. It's a Hulk super serum. He's from the Macroverse and Batman is from our universe, so therefore he's regular size in the Macroverse. It's canonical. We find 5 explanations here. No, it's very stupid super science for the sake of insanity.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tough for me to swallow that pill, but
sure.
This is also supposed to be the book where all of the Batman's friends who are his normal rogues gallery become the rogues through Bane's machinations. I do love that they're keeping Bane as the schemer, super smart guy, because I feel we kind of lost some of that as time went on. He kind of just became a bruiser. But originally he's the one who figured out who Batman was. He's supposed to be this genius behind the scenes mover and shaker kind of guy.
Yeah, man. I'm very excited for you to read this. I think that this volume also contains some of the Mr. Freeze stuff as well. Yeah. This is that's cool shit. I'm just gonna say that. To me, that was like a really cool little offshoot story that they told between the Bane stuff.
I am wondering if this is going to be the one where I get to see the Joker, who is a giant lizard monster, because I've had that spoiled for me as well.
That is going to be the next volume. Okay. I can tell you that. But that's Brian. I'm very happy to hear you're enjoying of Absolute Batman. If only because I feel like this is the one book that I feel like everyone I've heard read it goes, no, I can kind of fuck with this. This is kind of insane. I can fuck with it. So, Nick, we got to get you on board. That's the plan for 2026.
Ooh, okay.
We got to get you reading Scott Snyder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or,
listen,
Clockwork
Nick,
Orange. Eyes Wide Shut is a different thing.
I was going to just let that lie.
Clockwork Orange. I meant Clockwork Orange.
Brian's trying to fuck you, dude. Watch out.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so
I'm the
Nick...
Joker, baby.
Nick, you... Oh my god.
This show's over.
Nick, you used to read Scott Snyder. I think you would enjoy this book, but that's maybe another discussion for another time.
Sure.
So tell us what is on the top of your pile this week, please.
So I'm reading The Crown, which doesn't involve any of the royal family. I hope maybe it does. Maybe Mike Mignola is going to explain what really happened to Princess Diana. Who knows? But this is The Crown, A Tale of Hell, #1. This is written by Mike Mignola and Todd Mignola. This is has art by Warwick Johnson Cadwell, who worked with Mignola on Mr. Higgins Comes Home and Falcon Spear and a few other things, with Clem Robbins, who does letters on everything. How deep is the story going to dig into really, really insane lore? I don't know. I hope not. I've seen the preview. It seems pretty light, easy breezy, as far as it can be for Hellboy, especially considering that Dark Horse is labeling this as a prequel. Here's hoping it's one of those like little extra mileage for the completionist, but still an enjoyable ride for everybody else who's not 100% steeped, because even I am not that well versed into some of the older lore. I mean, I didn't even know that Hellboy had brothers, let alone a mom. And I mean, I don't even know how deep...
most people have moms, Nick.
Right. I mean, I don't even know how demon... I don't even know how demon families were made. Okay, maybe mommy demon, daddy demon love each other.
Nick, I mean, if you read the Hellboy series, I mean, you would know about
you would know about
his mom.
Intimate knowledge of
Nick, let me tell you about Hellboy.
Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, here's the solicit, right? Hellboy's brothers fight for control of Pandemonium in this demonic family reunion, but it isn't just the siblings who get involved in the power struggle, as their mother returns from her prison for the first time in 100 years. And I imagine Rita Repulsa, pushing open the grate, and for 500 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth. But she's got plans of her own. It seems like every little Hellboy verse title in the last couple of years has had a weird little wrinkle or two to it. Here we've got the first writing credit for Mike's brother in over a decade, and we've got Mike Mignola's frequent collaborator for nearly a decade, in Warwick Johnson Cadwell, for the first time doing something Hellboy related. It's also another one of these weird... Mike Mignola loves... Like, it feels like there's a natural rhythm to one-shots or, like, 4-issue, 5-issue trades. And Mike is like, fuck you guys. I'm doing, like, 2-issue arcs. I'm doing, like, 3-issue arcs. It's like, can we even call that a series? I'm not a one-shot, not yet a series. There's a Britney Spears deep cut for everyone.
Well, it begs the question of, like, should this have just been an oversized single issue? Or is the segmentation important? You know what I mean? Like, because I do find 2-issue series to be kind of odd.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that I would prefer that over a padded out 4-issue. Right?
Yes.
Like a 4-issue mini that's just full of bullshit would be really annoying. And I think Mike's whole thing is like, I don't want to fucking write that much. Or I don't want to have that long of a conversation with my brother who's writing this,
God, can you even imagine, like, if everything else is like a 2-minute call, this is like his brother, he's like, I want to write a book, and Mike just hangs up the phone, and then that's
right.
just,
so I think that there's something to like, maybe it's I think that there is a important, maybe Mike's justification is that he thinks there is a good thing about a lean series that is truly lean, right? Because I think most of us think lean series, we think, oh, 4-issue mini, that's it. But like a 2-issue series can work with the pace in the way that, you know, Mike tends to create his books. I'm thinking about a lot of the older Hellboy stuff that I read, where I'm just like, even the volumes feel like sparse in their detail, and it seemed like Mike just really wanted to draw the English countryside for 6 issues or 4 issues, and now, you know, that was the whole story. Oh, Hellboy found a skull that talks to him and now, you know, sets him further along his path. Like, maybe that's just what it is. He's like, I don't really have too much here, but like, we could do 2 issues out of this, or we could do 48 pages total out of this. And selling 2 issues is going to be better than selling 1. So that's why they don't do one-offs and yada, yada, yada. I'm sure there's like a combination of writing need as well as economic need for this.
Yeah. I mean, Mike has certainly struck me within the last couple of years as like, you know, he'll be like, hey, I've got an idea. It's not that big of an idea, so it's just an issue or 2. You know, why do more than that, right? Because that's not what I've got. I've just got this weird little thing in my brain, and I'll admit, as I said, I'm not well versed with Johnson Cadwell's contributions, so I don't know if his art is consistent across the board or if it's just a weird aesthetics thing. But like, and look, I've said this on the show a lot. I'm sure it has no currency with anyone anymore. I have devalued this statement completely. This is the currency that you like try to cross the border, and they like you have to hand it all off at the exchange because it's useless anywhere else. All right, but I'm gonna say it again, and I mean it this time. This is really polarizing art. Like, this makes Javier Pulido look like Jim Lee. Okay.
Like, that's a joke for about 5 people. I appreciate it so much.
This, like, it looks like that crude ass heavy metal, like demons and lightning bolts, and like you scroll on the back of your notebook in like junior high or something. Like, I fucking love it. But I sent this to Mike a couple days ago, and like Mike's first thing was like, yeah, this is really good. And then there was like a pause, and then he goes, people are going to hate this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It fucking rules.
It's definitely like very crude in a way that this guy knows what he's doing, right? Like, there is a crudeness to it that you're like, this doesn't look very good, but then you go, oh no, there's some artistry that's actually happening here. He's making these choices intentionally, I think.
You know what this reminds me of, now that I look at this more? There's a little of Brad Neely's like Baby Cakes.
I could see that.
You know, the Washington, you know, 6 foot tall, all that stuff. I see a little of that here, but like, everyone listening, check it out. Definitely look at the art. If the book sounds interesting, go look at the art first, because yes, this is, some people are not gonna like this, and fuck them. Anyway, who else wants to talk about a book?
Yeah, I've got a book that I'll talk about on top of my pile this week, Nick. I'm also very excited for that book. I would probably pick it up just because it looks insane.
Fuck yeah.
But I am going to be reading this book that's been on my shelf for a little while called Ex Utero. This is issues numbers 1 and 2. This is by Charles Forsman.
Oh,
I got this nice edition, the limited edition from Mansion Press that they were selling. You can also buy the regular edition. This isn't like some limited thing. But yeah, it's Charles Forsman, who you may know from The End of the Fucking World, I'm Not Okay With This series, or comics that turned into Netflix series. There's a 2017 series for The End of the Fucking World, 2020 series for I'm Not Okay With This. Forsman has had quite a few comics come out since those 2 books. I previously talked about Here Comes Chelsea Nooseneck, his comic strip style little issue that he crowdfunded with a supremely dark like undertone throughout. Like, it's this Nancy style story about a kid who has a noose around his neck, and there's like a story there, right? There's a question that needs to be answered as you read this little issue. But Ex Utero appears to be on the surface more akin to The End of the Fucking World, with some 90s era magic bullshit and horror based on the synopsis from the publisher Mansion Press. the way that they sum it up is, in this haunting new series, Charles Forsman dives deep into the family trauma, grief, and teenage terror, all wrapped in a slow-burning 90s horror setting. Josh, 16, lives in a quiet American town with his alcoholic dad and younger brother. A year after his pregnant mother's mysterious death, he is still haunted by her absence. Then one day, when burying his dead cat near the cemetery, he stumbles upon an old book of black magic with a spell to bring back the dead. I mean, I paid for these books, so I should probably read them, but this seems like the kind of dark, weird stuff that is fun. I don't know if you guys follow Charles Forsman at all. I certainly only hear tidbits about him through this movie Discord that I'm into. He runs a show where he and another guy just watch old, awful B movies and C movies and D movies. Forsman seems to be like in the middle of like the 90s era, I think, when he's trying to do stuff. So I'm guessing this will be dark and corny and just full of like over exaggerated blood and weird mystical stuff like The Craft, the movie. But I don't know. I like Forsman's art style. I think like in general, like his books read pretty well, if not really fucking weird. You know, like I remember enjoying The End of the Fucking World, but also thinking this book just ended, right? I'm not okay with this. Is like really dark and haunting. So I'm curious to know how this book is going to make me feel. But I've got 2 of these. They're big old books. They're pretty thick. And they're like 70-ish pages or something like that. And yeah, I don't know. I bought these from Mansion Press. This is last thing I'll say. This is a French publisher. So to get them to the United States, 1, they cost a lot of money to print, and 2, you have to pay a shitload for shipping.
And 3, they have to hollow out a baguette to seal them in
yes.
and ship them over the ocean. Yeah.
Right. You do have to admit that French comic books are superior to American comics in a signed affidavit thing. But no, I don't know. It's interesting. This is not the first time I've heard of an indie creator going across the pond to get their books published in some way. I don't know if there's like a better deal for them, or if it's just like, I want to work with this publisher or whatever. Noah Van Sciver recently put out a book through like a Latvian publisher, and I only found out because I saw it on Instagram, and then I had to pay like a bunch of weird taxes to like purchase it and have it shipped here. It was a whole thing. So I'm very curious to know. I would love to sit down with one of these folks and ask them like why they're doing that. And I'm sure it's because paper costs and printing costs and labor costs and yada, yada, yada is just huge here for some reason, because of tariffs and all sorts of other bullshit that would cause rising costs for someone that's trying to print like 500 or 800 or 1,000 copies of their comic to sell independently. But anyways, it's a little tangent. I'm excited to check these out. Like I said, they've been sitting on my shelf for a little while. Utero #1 came out in 2025, and #2 I think came out at the end of 2025. So like I just need to read these. But yeah, anyways, no, not Latveria, Danny. I said Latvia, I think is what it was. I don't know, Latvia or Estonia, somewhere that was originally behind the Iron Curtain. I don't know. Is that a bad way to describe some countries? Maybe they don't appreciate that. If you're from Latveria, Latvia.
Latvia. Yeah.
Damn it,
Send us an
Danny.
email. Anyways, I did say Latveria. Oh, you're right. I did say that. Okay, sorry. I think I meant Latvia. That's what I was trying to say. But anyways, gonna be reading Ex Utero. We gotta wrap this show up. That's all I'll say. Thank you both for joining me this week. Thank you to everybody listening live. Thank you, Kait, for proof listening. Thanks to Zander for editing. And until next time, comics are good, and so are you.